Factorise 8d minus 6. When we see factorise, we think brackets, and then we have to think of a common factor that goes into 6 and 8. Now, this is nice and easy. It's straightforward. It's 2. Then I need to think 2 times what is 8d? So 2 times 4 is 8, and then we pop our d on. Then we've got 2 times what will be minus 6. That's nice and easy. 2 times 3. Now, that's our final answer. So this is our answer. I'm going to pop that over there and write answer. But I'm just going to prove that it works by copying this. So let's just get that copied and then expanding it back out. So let's paste it down there and expand it back out to prove we've factorised. 2 times 4d is 8d. And then 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. So we're done. It works. And this is our answer here. Factorise 4p plus 6. Okay, factorise brackets. So we draw our brackets. Then we have to think of a common factor for 4 and 6. That would be 2. So we put our 2 outside the brackets. And we think 2 times what is 4? 2 times 2 is 4. Then we pop our p in. So then we'll get 2 times 2p is 4p. And then we have to think what times 2 is 6? Well, that's 3. And then we've got 2 times 3 is 6. You don't need to do our little rainbow lines, our little claw lines. Basically, this would look as your final answer. I was just proving it works. Factorise 6y squared minus 5y. Factorise brackets. Then we have to think of a highest common factor. But it's tricky here because we've got our 6 and our 5. So we're going to look at the y. We're going to take the y outside the bracket, and then we're going to pop 6y here because y times 6y would give us 6y squared. Then we're going to think y times 5. We're just going to pop a 5 in there because y times minus 5 would give us that. And then we would be, I don't need a bracket there, we would be back to the beginning. So our final answer is this guy here. Factorise fully 9x squared plus 6x. So factorise brackets, factorise brackets. Now we have to think of a highest common factor that goes into 6 and 9. That will be 3. Now we have an x squared, so I'm going to put a 3x outside the brackets, and then I'm going to put a 3x inside the brackets because 3 times 3 is 9 and x times x is x squared. And then I just have to think, well, 3x times what will give us 6x? That's just 2 because 3x times 2 will give us 6x. This is our answer, and I'm going to move our answer over here and give it a tick so that we know that that works. But I'm going to expand this bracket, I'm going to expand this back out to prove that it works. So 3x outside our brackets and 3x plus 2. If we expand it back out, 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Then 3x times 2 will give us plus 6x, which was our original question. So our answer is perfect there. Fully factorise 6x squared plus 15x. Now, don't get confused with factorise fully. It's just what we've been doing. When we see factorise, we think brackets, so we draw our brackets. And then we have to look at our 6 and our 15 and find our highest common factor, which will actually be 3. But we have an x squared, so we're going to put 3x outside the brackets. Then we have to think 3 times what is 6, and that's 2. But we want x squared, so we'll put an x there. Then 3 times what is 15? 3 times 5 is 15, and we're just going to put a 5 in there. This is our answer. If we were to expand it back out, we would then get 3x times 2x would be 6x squared. And then 3x times 5 would be plus 15x. So our final answer was just this guy here.